December 21st, 2010. A group of hikers were making their way through the woods near the West Valley Highway in Auburn, Washington. It was cold that day, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones. They were just looking for a good trail, maybe some nice views. But what they found, partially buried in the dirt, almost hidden beneath fallen leaves, was a human skull. The police were called immediately. At first, they didn't know who it belonged to. But this area had a history. Back in 2003, another set of remains had been found not far from this exact spot. A woman named Marie Malvar. And now, here was another victim. Forensic analysts ran tests. Rebecca's story was still a mystery until DNA reports matched with Rebecca Marrero's profile. She'd been missing since December 3rd, 1982, and the last time anyone saw Rebecca, she was leaving a motel, the Western Six Motel, right off South, 168th Street and Pacific Highway South. After that, she vanished. But Rebecca wasn't the only one. By 2011, the man responsible for her death and dozens of others pleaded guilty to his 49th murder. And investigators believe there could be a lot more. His name is Gary Leon Ridgway, but you probably know him by another name, the Green River Killer. Despite all serial killers, Ridgway was different, not because of how he killed, but because how long he got away with it. Almost nearly 20 years. Gary Ridgway was born on February 18, 1949 in Salt Lake City. From the outside, he seemed ordinary. He wasn't some criminal mastermind. He struggled with dyslexia his whole life. He wasn't charming like Ted Bundy or theatrical like other killers you've heard about, but that's exactly what made him so dangerous. Ridgway grew up in a house that wasn't exactly peaceful. His relationship with his mother was complicated. Psychologists who studied him later said it was more than complicated. It was toxic. He hated her, but at the same time, he was obsessed with her. That twisted combination, anger and fixation, it shaped everything that came after. He was 16 when he stabbed a child. The kid survived, but it was a warning sign, a massive one. And somehow it got brushed aside. He got married 3 times. All 3 marriages failed. And through it all, Ridgway had this obsession with sex. He couldn't control it, or maybe he just didn't want to. Here's where it gets even stranger. During his second marriage, Ridgway became deeply religious. He'd go door to door, handing out pamphlets, talking about the Bible, trying to save people's souls. Can you imagine a man who spent his evenings reading scripture and his nights hunting women? Because that's exactly what he was doing. Ridgway had what he called a love-hate relationship with sex workers. He'd seek them out, pay them, sleep with them. And then he'd kill them. His method was simple but terrifying. He'd drive around areas like Pacific Highway South near SeaTac Airport looking for women. Runaways, sex workers, people society had already forgotten. Ridgway would pull up in his truck, usually with a photo of his son on the dashboard. That photo, it was bait. It made him look safe, trustworthy, just a regular dad. Once they got in the car, he'd drive them somewhere isolated, wooded areas near the Green River, empty stretches of land where no one would hear them scream, and then he'd strangle them with his bare hands. He didn't use weapons. He didn't need them. Ridgway said he liked the control, the feeling of their life slipping away under his grip. After they were dead, he'd dump their bodies in clusters, sometimes in the woods, sometimes near the river. He'd leave them there like garbage. But Ridgway didn't stop there. And this is the part that makes your skin crawl. He'd come back. Days later, he'd return to the dump sites, to the bodies so that he'd engage with them sexually. When investigators asked him why, Ridgway had an answer that was as cold as it was calculated. He said it was practical. If he went back to the bodies, he didn't need to find new victims. It reduced his risk of getting caught. That's the kind of person Gary Ridgway was. Emotionless. But he wasn't perfect. Ridgway tried to cover his tracks. He'd leave cigarette butts at crime scenes even though he didn't smoke. He'd drop gum wrappers, random trash, anything to confuse investigators and make them think someone else was responsible. For a while, it worked. Ridgway first became a suspect in 1982. The police knew something was wrong. Women were disappearing at an alarming rate. Bodies were turning up near the Green River. The press started calling him the Green River Killer before anyone even knew his name. But they couldn't prove it. Not yet. Ridgway was questioned multiple times. He even passed a polygraph test in 1984. Can you believe that? He looked investigators in the eye, lied to their faces, and walked free. And the killing continued. In 2001, forensic scientists re-examined evidence from the old crime scenes. They found DNA, semen, samples that had been sitting in storage for years. And this time they got a match. Gary Leon Ridgway. On November 30th, 2001, police arrested him at his workplace. He didn't resist. He didn't run. He just complied. In 2003, Ridgway made a deal, a plea bargain. He agreed to confess to his crimes and lead investigators to the remains of missing women. In exchange, he'd avoid the death penalty. So he talked. He confessed to killing 49 women, but Ridgway himself claimed the real number was closer to 70. He took detectives to dump sites. Some bodies had been there for over 20 years. Families finally got answers. Horrible, heartbreaking answers. Ridgway was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. 49 consecutive life sentences. He's currently incarcerated at the Washington State Penitentiary. As of late 2025, Ridgway is still alive. He's in his mid-70s now. There have been reports that his health is declining. Some media outlets even speculated he might be in hospice care. But the Department of Corrections has since clarified. While he does have health issues, he's not dying. Not yet.